Bettina Arndt wins an Australia Day Honours. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise, and happy Australia Day. I've got my stein of coffee here, and I celebrated Australia this morning by having 3 eye fillets for my breakfast. Now let me know what your plans are. Are you going out to the beach? Are you having a family barbecue? Have you got friends and mates coming over? Or are you catching up on chores? Or just plan to relax and do absolutely nothing? I think that's that's probably the one I would enjoy the most. Now, I awoke to some good news. Bettina Arndt has received an Australia Day honour for her advocacy for men. This fills me with tremendous encouragement that the mainstream of Australian politics are starting to wake up to some of the reality and the challenges that are facing men in contemporary Australian society. Naturally, you have all the woke idiots who are just, well, giving us a wealth of entertainment and are on Twitter, on social media, and on the news, outraged that Bettina Arndt won this, which I would say, well-deserved honour. And it's funny. It's funny because I remember her as when I was growing up as a kid. I remember she was on the TV talking about sex all the time. And that's because my parents obviously watched her all the time on the news. Everyone knew about her. And there's a gentleman at church, and he thought it's quite funny because back in the day all the fundamentalist Christians, they were, coming out against her, or yada yada yada. And now they've kind of switched. He said it's quite funny. I'm quite a fan of her now, but back in the day I wasn't. So I thought that was quite interesting. And let's have a look at this article. And there's a very interesting point that's made here that is playing itself out over in America right now with Joe Rogan and Bernie Sanders. Okay, we'll have a look at that. So, controversial commentator given Australia Day honour for advocacy for men. I mean, would you call it controversial? I guess to some people, yeah. A controversial commentator and sex therapist who stoked fury among feminists has been given an Australia Day honour for her advocacy for men. Australians, really? No, I'm an Australian. You can't say that. Nope. No. Sorry. The Woke Brigade, we'll go righty. Woke Brigade, I need my pen. Woke Brigade have reacted with fury to controversial commentator and men's rights activist Bettina Arndt being recognised in this year's Australia Day Award. Yes, because advocating for men's rights, we can't have that, can we? The portion of the population which has the highest suicide rate. No, we can't address that. The rampant bias in the family courts, we can't address that. No, can't draw attention to that. I've done videos before just looking at International Men's Days and the events that were run around Australia, trying to draw some attention to them through my little channel. And there were so few, it was pretty sad, compared to every government department having a pink hat barbecue for anything for women. Miss Arndt was appointed a member of the Order of Australia, Australia's 3rd highest civic honour, for striving to achieve gender equity through advocacy for men. The journalist and sex therapist was criticised in 2018 when she interviewed convicted sex offender Nicholas Bester, and has been outspoken against what she believes is a fake rape crisis at Australian universities. Well, there's two things here. This is the thing, and you know what? I will bring up. No, I won't. I won't bring up. What's happening here is you've got people on the woke activist feminist community. They're trying to paint Bettina with the brush of the people she's interviewing with. Because apparently when you interview or speak to anyone, you suddenly embody all of their characteristics, and everything they've been accused of, you're now accused of as well. Because they wouldn't even dare give the day of light to anyone who has any opposing views, opinions, or who has made a mistake or has a criminal conviction. They don't want to dirty themselves with that. A sensible person can see how that is not very inducive to having a dialogue about issues, which is kind of what you want to avoid. You want to avoid limited dialogue. And then, the fake rape crisis at universities. Yes, if you look at any of Bettina's videos on the topic, it is a fake rape crisis, guys. They are generally safer than the cities that are surrounding them. Some of the statistics, when they're saying there's a sexual assault crisis or a rape crisis, it's if someone looked at you wrong on the bus on the way to university, they would count that as part of that. So, I mean, it's a complete joke. You know, I would say it's no more well, if anything, it's safer than other parts of the city that you're in. This is vile, writes Van Badham, retweeted. Could someone let me know if I should know who that is? Are they someone of significance? Because why are they in this thing? You know, Bettina Arndt platformed a pedophile, creating space for a convicted criminal who groomed and raped a child to brag about his crimes, while she herself blamed children for sexual provocation. If she is what's honoured as an Australian, it is no honour at all. I mean, there you go. This is obvious framing. Because here's a harsh reality that you have to realise. A lot of people have agency, and you can talk to younger girls. They also have agency, okay? This is a harsh part of reality. Younger boys also have agency. Why do you think in the media all the time we're hearing now about all these female teachers? Guys. Given Bettina Arndt, this award is like giving Pauline Hanson one for promoting racial equality and George Pell one for child safety, journalist Shirley Moody wrote. Arndt's work is not about gender equality. It is misogyny-driven hate designed to keep women barefoot, pregnant, and tied to the kitchen sink. Writer and speaker Georgie Dent said she couldn't help but wish this was all a sick joke. I mean, I guess I'm not following these circles enough to even care who these people are. And you could, I mean, there's bias in everything they've written here. There's everything they've written. And I'll be interested to see if this piece actually gives a counter-argument. A counter-argument. Because you see, it's all just negative, negative, negative. They're not framing it in a sensible way. You know? And we've got, there's a growing MGTOW movement, men going their own way. And this is a movement where some men are completely going monk mode, where they're completely even just disengaging from any relationship with women at all, just going their own way. Because, well, in our current legal and social climate, they feel that it is too great a risk to them for their personal liberties and their wealth to engage in those relationships. Which, frankly, I can understand. And, I mean, you know, I've got a barefoot and pregnant wife, and she's not tied to the kitchen sink. She's, you know, teaching our kids here at homeschooling. She's already also an architect, working part-time on our projects with me. You know, it's life here ain't as... I think she's probably happier than a blue check mark on Twitter. I'm just betting. I'm betting. What do you reckon? Will there be cats on the profile, guys? Will there be cats? So... okay, we'll just skip past all this Twitter garbage. This isn't reporting. What are we looking at that for? Miss Arndt, 70, who says she's been writing about men's issues for 30 years, told News.com she was delighted to have her career recognized in this way and predicted it would cause a stir. So, I mean, she's obviously well aware that she's going to piss off all the feminists and the professional woke brigade, should we call them that? Because let's jump over here. We'll have a look, and we'll just jump over here and look at... This is from one of the protests that were addressing her... Well, we're looking at her speaking event. I mean, look at this, guys. A sex therapist and journalist and 70-year-old coming to speak in an event. This is what's happening. What's going on with our university? We'll go here. We'll jump here a bit forward to have a look. And I've done videos looking at all these protests. I mean, they're setting off alarms. They're doing whatever they can to limit her ability to speak. Now, these are universities. You'd hope they would be a place where people could have intellectual discussions, where we could actually have some freedom of speech. I would say this behaviour is un-Australian. This behaviour is un-Australian. Sure, you can protest, but you really want to block out someone's right to talk? And I think that's what they do, really. That's what they do. I bet you these same people that are complaining about this are also the same ones calling it Invasion Day and all that other rubbish, you know. The Sydney Sider said she's also very happy about the wording used in the citation for her honor. She states that she has been appointed an AM for significant service to the community as a social commentator and to gender equality through advocacy for men. It absolutely captures what I'm doing, she said. But I would imagine that would be controversial because the feminists claim they're the only ones promoting gender equality through through endless tilting laws, rules and regulations in favor of women at the expense of men. Well, she's summarized it to a T there. I hope this award will encourage others to join me in campaigning for true gender equality, fairer treatment for men and women. And, I mean, everyone who is sensible, I would argue, would agree that having a merit-based society where people can have the freedom to choose to do what they want and are selected based on their merit, not other identifying characteristics beyond their control, is the best way forward. But sadly, Australia seems to be moving further and further away from that. Ms. Arndt said she is currently campaigning to draw attention to the illegal kangaroo courts she claims universities are using to adjudicate rape, as well as male suicide and gender-neutral suicide prevention policies. Domestic violence is another issue she has campaigned on. Malcolm Turnbull boasted of spending hundreds of millions of dollars on domestic violence programs, which were all about demonizing men, she said. And I bet you they're a complete waste of money. I mean, this is why the government needs to just step out of a lot of this rubbish. They ignore the true complexity of domestic violence, which includes problems with mental illness, drugs, and alcohol abuse. Meanwhile, she claims male victims of domestic violence receive absolutely no funding. Well, yes, we've seen that in the attempts to start up Jeremiah House in Bundaberg. Just how hard it has been for them to get it off the ground and to get funding. They found it difficult because they were targeting just as men. Right now, if you're a man trying to flee domestic violence with your children will get taken off you and you'll get put in a hostel. It's not fair, guys. It's not fair. She said she started off as a feminist and campaigning for women's rights, but became increasingly alarmed by the movement. I felt in many years women achieved equality, she said. We had a lot to celebrate, but there were many who wanted to extend women's rights well beyond any notion of equality. It's now all about male bashing, trying to advantage women over men in so many areas. I've had enough of that. What do you think? Do you think this is a fair piece for the work that Bettina has been doing, or does it feel a little bit like a hit piece? As an Australian, are you offended? Are you offended, or are you in a fury that she won this award, or do you think it is a woke, depressed minority that are the ones going nuts? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Have a happy Australia Day, everyone, and I will talk to you all later. But before I go, if you want to help support the channel, I have Patreon where you can make a small monthly donation. We also have the ability for you to use our referral links at Amazon, eBay, and Independent Reserve for your consumer purchases or crypto trading. We have Pocket Squares at HeiseSays and PayPal if you want to contribute that way. Take care, have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye for now.